Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome here at Crypto Hash Review, where we educate and disseminate information about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies from a Muslim perspective. In our previous video, we discussed the two basic premises why I believe Bitcoin is halal. And the first premise was because it is an affair of this dunya. It is from the world of this dunya, from the knowledge of this dunya, actions, innovation of this dunya, of this world, and therefore they are halal by default. No one needs to bring evidence for it being halal. It's just halal by the fact that there is no evidence to say it's haram. If someone wants to claim it is haram, they now need to bring valid evidence and reasons why it is haram. And we're not talking about why certain actions with that thing will be haram. We're talking about specifically itself is haram. And the second premise was that Bitcoin, or the Bitcoin network, is just a means of communication. That's all it is. It is a means for people to interact with each other on an international, global scale across the internet, transferring value through that communication. That's all it is. And to suggest that Bitcoin would be haram would be to suggest that to communicate with someone and to give them instruction, give them information, and to receive that information and receive that instruction and act on it would actually be haram. Just like sending an email and receiving an email is the same thing. So this was our basic premise of why we believe Bitcoin is halal, that is communication. And in this video, we want to focus on demonstrating how Bitcoin is a means of communication. And we will do so by going through the process of opening a wallet, getting your private keys, receiving Bitcoin, and then sending Bitcoin. And you would see exactly what is going on from the beginning to the end, very simply done. So let's begin. So as you can see here on the screen, this is an application called Blue Wallet. It's a very good application for both Apple and Android phones, and even desktop. And as you can see here, it's just an open page. There's nothing here other than, there's no transactions here, and there's no wallets here. And I'll explain every part as we go along. So we are now going to get ourselves an account. So put into our modern day version or modern day look at things, an account. What is our account? As I said before, it is just a random number. So I'm going to give my wallet a name, and a wallet is just a piece of information. So I'll call it test wallet for video, for example, and I want Bitcoin, obviously. And if I pressed create, the application on this device right here would generate a random number. And as we said before, this random number is a number between 0 and 10 to the power of 73, as in 10 with 73 zeros at the end of it. So a million has 6 zeros, a billion has 9 zeros, a trillion has 12 zeros. This number has 72 zeros. Huge. So it's a random number, any random number in that. And as we mentioned before, the number of atoms in the known universe is approximately 10 to the power of 80. So the Bitcoin number is almost like saying you're hiding your money in a random atom in the universe. But I'm not going to just allow this computer to just generate a random number. I want to add my own randomness. So I'm going to go to add entropy. This app has some nice little feature where you can just add some kind of randomness. I can roll the dice, I get a 6, roll the dice, I get a 1. I'll have a nice 20-sided dice. I'm going to get a 60 and I get a 2, I get a 1. Or maybe I want to flip a coin. So I'll get a heads, or tails, and then a heads. So I just added some randomness. And what I just did here was not planned. I didn't plan to type these numbers. It was just me randomly picking them. And it will add this randomness to its own randomness and mix the randomness together to make it even more crazy random. And as you can see at the top, you see here, 9 of 256 bits of randomness. So we just added a small portion of the total amount of randomness you could have. So it says here, 1 bytes generated entropy. Entropy is like randomness. Remaining is 31 bytes will be obtained from the system's random generator. So the system has a random generator, and I've added my own randomness to the randomness as well. Why would you do so? very brief. It's because obviously computers, they can only be so random. So it's just to try and make sure that you can get as much randomness as you can. Because remember, this has to be a number that no one could just guess. And if I said to you, where's the money? If you could guess exactly which atom in the known universe my money exists, then that's not a very good number. So now create. And now we can see on the side here is a wallet, test wallet for video. And here we have what's called a seed phrase. Now this seed phrase is basically putting in word form this random number, this massive 10 to the power 72 number, massive number, is now condensed into this 24 words. How did it do so? Well, there are about 2,040 something words in this little mini dictionary, 2,040 something words. So each space in that 1 to 24 could be any one of those 2,040 words. So basically, if you could imagine combining two together, that means 2,040 something multiplied by 2,040 something, that's just 2. Keep on doing that for 24 times, 2,040 times 2,040 times 2,040 over and over again until you get 24. You will get the number 10 to the power of 72. Anyway, the point is not the details. The point is, all I want really is a random number. And it asks me, do I want to write it down? And I'm going to say, yeah, write it down, whatever. So now I have my Bitcoin wallet. What is a Bitcoin wallet? Or it's just a part of the program that holds my random number, my private keys. Okay, now I'm here. I want to receive some Bitcoin. So I press receive. And now from my part, it's going to ask me, I have to make sure you write your seed down. And the reason why it's asking me that is because if I lose my seed and I want to recover my money, basically my seed is my map, where X marks the spot. Where would my pirate self find my loot that I've buried in the universe? It's in that map. So it's asking me, do you have a copy of your map where your money is held before you start putting money on it? Yes, I do. I mean, I don't, but yes, I do for this sake of argument. Now it's going to generate a random number. Generate an address. This address here, this BC1QU, whatever, this address is where I'm saying to you, you can put money that you want to give to me in this location. I can access that location, but once you put money in there, you can't. So that's just what it is. So we mentioned that before on a previous video. So now I'm going to send money to that address. So send, and now I'm going to use, because it's got a QR code there, I'm just going to scan the QR code. Now I've got that address that was there on my phone, and I'm going to send 0.001 Bitcoin. So 0.001 is about 23 Bitcoin, 23 pounds. And I'm going to press send, trying to get it gets done quickly. Done. And money has been sent. And now that money has been sent on the network, we should see, here we go, money is being received already. So already my wallet is picked up that I have broadcasted this information to the network, and that now we're waiting for the miners to now take this transaction and to verify it and to add it to the blockchain. Now it will take some time, so this is pending, and zero confirmation means that it hasn't yet reached into a block. So a miner hasn't put it into a block yet, or into his own little thing, data packet that would be in the blockchain. He hasn't put it in there yet. When it goes to 1, that means it will be in the first block and it will be confirmed. So we'll come back in a couple of minutes when it's fully confirmed, and we will finish off this tutorial. Now, there's another way of visualizing, as I want to demonstrate to you, the Bitcoin transaction. So as you can see here, our transaction is pending. And if I go to the details, we can see here an address where it came from, an address where the money is going to go. And we have here what's called a transaction ID. I'm going to copy that transaction ID. It's just an identification of the whole transaction. What we can do, we can actually go and look. This is a nice little website called TX Street, Transaction Street. It allows you to visually look at what a Bitcoin network looks like. So if you can imagine, each transaction is like a person trying to get on a bus. And these buses here that are waiting to depart, they're what's called the blockchain. So each transaction is trying to get on the bus. I think there's more and more transactions that go along, and there's about 26 buses backed up here trying to take off. And when they say 26 buses, it's because there's that many people there waiting to get on a bus. So I can actually search for that transaction. Where is it? I can plug it in here. So it seems like it's already here. And it says the transaction is pending. It's on the bus, but it's waiting for the bus to take off. So this is something that anybody can do. Once you send a transaction, anybody on planet Earth can just go and check on any system and check on their own system, even their own computer at home if you wanted to, and see what has happened to my transaction. Has it taken off? Has the bus gone off and is now inside a solidly linked blockchain? Or is it still pending and waiting to be added to the blockchain? So we're waiting for this to take part. We'll wait for this to conclude, and then we will move on to sending that Bitcoin back to the other wallet. Or another way of looking at it is simply in terms of data blocks. So as we'll see right here, we've got these blocks here, which are already mined blocks of data. And then we have pending blocks which are yet to be added to the blockchain. So my current transaction, which I sent, I put it inside here to have a look. And it's currently waiting in the next block. So once this block moves over to the confirm side, then the transaction would be complete. So it's basically on the pile, on the desk of the miners, and they are going through all these different transactions, pending transactions, and then at some point, once they find that unique number that solidifies that block, and locks that block into the chain, then it will move over. And as we can see right now, we have approximately, how many transactions we have? I don't know how much. It has 3,117 different transactions. That means in this one block at the moment, pending is about 3,117 different people who have sent transactions, waited to be added to the blockchain. So we just wait for that to be confirmed. So as you can see, we have now confirmation of our transaction. So let's have a look. So we can see here this little pie chart of different transactions, how much people paid for each transaction. So this particular miner who mined this transaction, he earned 200 or 7.71 Bitcoin, which is $239,000. Anyway, that was his reward for the work he did in securing this network and securing this transaction stuff. And already now we've seen another block come along this way. So these are now added onto the blockchain. So now when it was here, it was one confirmation, and it was here, it was two confirmations. So you can see two confirmations added onto the blockchain. So now back to here, we now see, or we should now see, our transaction has now been confirmed. Just refreshing the application. So now this application is now going to ask the network how much money is this transaction that is here confirmed, and now it says it's confirmed, and now it says 0.001 Bitcoin is now in that wallet. So now we want to do now the opposite. The idea was to demonstrate to you not just how to receive Bitcoin, because I just showed you just make a wallet, takes you 10 seconds or 15 seconds to make a wallet, basically to find a random number and to generate an address to receive Bitcoin. And you've now received Bitcoin. And now you want to send Bitcoin. So here it is almost like your email address where you would make your email. And essentially, we need an address. Where is the Bitcoin going to? We also need the fees. How much am I willing to pay the miners to take my transaction? And that's pretty much it. And how much I'm going to send. So I'm going to scan. And right now I'm going to just get my own address. So now I'm going to show this to my camera. There you go. So now that's received my address. That was on this wallet on my phone. I can put a note here. I don't have to. That note is just for the app. It's nothing to do with the Bitcoin network. I can say test return. And here is the most important part, which is the fees. If I want to make sure my transaction is confirmed quick, I am going to offer more money to the miners to do so. I could choose fast. If I don't mind waiting a few hours, I could choose medium. And if I don't mind waiting a few days, or it doesn't be days, it could be hours or whatever, I could choose slow. Now I'm going to, because it's going from my wallet here to my other wallet here, I'm going to do a custom fee. And I'm going to put the lowest possible fee you can give, which is 1 Satoshi. And a Satoshi, 1 Satoshi, you have to have 30 Satoshis for 1 cent. Not a dollar, for a cent. So 1 Satoshi is tiny. So that's how much I want to pay. And as for the amount, I'm going to choose maximum, the full balance, max. Now I choose next. So now this application now makes for me a message. It makes a digital message that I could broadcast to the world. So it says here, just gives you a lowdown of the fees and whatnot. But transaction ID, here's a look at transaction details. So here we have the details. We have who is it going to, the amount is going to be given to them, the fees for this transaction. This is the ratio, 1 Satoshi per byte of information is 192 bytes. And here is the message, everyone. This message right here that you can see, this is the Bitcoin transaction. That 02000010, that number right there, that big long number is your letter. That is your letter you're going to broadcast to the world. And I'm not going to do that copy. I want to press copy. I'm not going to broadcast it on this application. I'm actually going to leave the application. I'm going to leave the application or leave the send part. Now I've copied it, and I'm actually going to simulate me giving that message to someone else. So I press copy on this iPad. It will also copy onto the iPhone because it's got a shared clipboard. And I'm going to go to network, and I'm going to go to, let me do screen share or screen record so you can see what I'm looking at right here. So I'm now recording the screen, so on my phone, so you can see what's happening here. So now I'm going to go to network, and I'm going to broadcast transaction. It says insert transaction hex or hexadecimal, the number. So I'm now going to press paste. Here we go. So now I've pasted that letter, that message to somebody else. I mean, imagine this was you and this was someone else. I could actually send this message via email, via text message. I can write it down on a piece of paper even, and I could send this letter to someone somewhere else in the world, and they could broadcast it. I don't have to broadcast it. I don't even need to have internet. I can do all of this thing offline, make the transaction, make this message, write it down with pen and paper. I can use smoke signals, and someone gets a message and they can take that message and they can broadcast it. So now I'm going to press broadcast. That's it, transaction has been broadcasted. And I've now broadcasted it on my phone over here. It should show up over here, because now it's inside the network. There you go. So although I broadcasted it from a separate device, independent of this device, this already knows that it's been broadcasted. And I can do the same thing here. I can come here, I can look at the details, and I can copy the transaction ID. I could go to the Block Explorer, or basically the program or the website that you can use to scan and search and query the blockchain network, and I can see where my transaction is, and it says it's right here at the back, somewhere way back, because I didn't put hardly any fees. So it's not in the beginning of the queue, it's way back in the queue because I put the lowest fees possible. And that is the blockchain network. That is Bitcoin. It is literally a means of communication. So now there are thousands and thousands of computers across planet Earth, all putting these transactions together, all looking for this unique number, burning electricity, taking up time, taking up space, taking up resources, trying to find this unique number that is very rare to find. And once they found it, then it becomes part of the new blockchain network. So each block here has a value, it's worth something, worth effort, and it takes time. So we hope you benefited from this very brief demonstration about how the Bitcoin network works. If there is something in what you've seen here that looks like it is dubious and harami, then please let us know in the comments below. I'll be happy to address any of your concerns. But as you can see here, it is nothing but a means of communication. And furthermore, I will actually, let's have a look at the actual transaction. Let's have a look, see if we can look at the transaction itself. So let's look at the details of the transaction. So here we go. Here are the details of the transaction. So money from this address is now going to this address. It was sent, it was first seen 2 minutes ago. So it means I broadcasted to the network 2 minutes ago. Anyone who puts his details in, they'll get the same information. Here's the transaction ID. I paid 6p for the transaction, 6 pence for the transaction. That's it really. That's all that needs to be mentioned. That's just the details involved. So hopefully you find this very beneficial. If you have any further questions, you can give us, you can contact us on our website, where you can also join our mailing list, find out more information about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin specifically. And press like on this video, subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to seeing you in future videos. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.